my fellow Labour MPs have spoken for various segments of workers. I will focus on advancing the interests of older workers. Workers aged 55 and above make up more than a quarter of our resident workforce today. The government and tripartite partners have done a lot for our older workers over the years. From lengthening employment to strengthening employability and augmenting retirement needs, there had been significant progress over the years. This was even so during the COVID years, in sharp contrast to what happened in many other countries, where their older workers, many of the older workers lost their jobs and had a problem coming back. For the immediate term, older workers face the cost of living pressures like everyone else. And I thank the government for the assurance package and other cost-defraying measures in this and past budgets to help Singaporeans cope with this pressure. The help was timely and very well received. Beyond the immediate pressures, older workers genuinely worry about other developments, and for today, I will highlight three. First, there is the worry about the efficacy of ensuring longer work spans by just legislating higher retirement and re-employment ages. Why? Because such legislation, important as they are, may likely come under pressure if it is not effectively combined with skills building. Two, the risk of skills obsolescence is increasing with accelerating changes in technology and business models. For example, some industries are facing structural shifts, such as those brought about by the green transition and others. The pervasive impact of AI on how work will be carried out is also not a trivial matter for workers. And this will increase the risk of premature displacement despite legislated retirement and re-employment ages. Third, there continues to be ground feedback about the relative lack of equitable opportunity and access to training and skills upgrading for older workers compared to their younger counterparts. In NTUC's Every Worker Matters focus groups, 6 in 10 older workers who participated felt so. They felt a relative lack of opportunity for training and skills building compared to their younger counterparts. Now, these challenges must be properly addressed so that the aim, our joint aim, of enabling older workers to continue working and saving for retirement is not undermined by the evolving demographics in our country and by big environmental changes worldwide. I thank the Finance Minister for announcing the next calibrated increase in CPF contribution rates for older workers aged 55 to 65 in this budget. And this will certainly help grow their CPF funds faster. We, the NTUC, are also grateful for the enhancements to the Silver Support Scheme, the Match Retirement Savings Scheme, and specific initiatives under the Majula package, such as the Earn and Save Bonus, Retirement Savings Bonus, and MediSave Bonus. All these efforts will increase the CPF savings of older workers and make for greater security in retirement. However, it remains true that the most material way to help older workers financially in retirement is by adding to the effective working years. And here I stress the word effective, as opposed to legislated. During NTUC's Every Worker Matters conversations organized last year, we asked older workers who participated what they hoped to do when they reached the current retirement age of 63. Out of 10 who were there, 8 in 5 of them would say that they wanted to continue working. And out of this 8.5, or 85% of the older workers who participated in our conversations, 6 out of the 8.5 hoped to continue working in the current jobs or in the current industry where they have accumulated experience and value. Many also asked, when will the government announce the next increase in statutory retirement and re-employment ages, since there is still a gap between the current ages and the goal of reaching the retirement age of 70 and the re-employment age of 65 by the year 2030. And just to remind fellow members here, this 2030 goals of statutory retirement age, 65, statutory re-employment age ceiling, 70, was the work of the tripartite work group of older workers, whose report came out in 2019, and the roadmap was endorsed. Now it's 2024. I therefore call on government to announce the next step increase in the retirement and re-employment ages soonest, and to give reasonable notice to both business and workers so that both sides can get ready in good time. We should act promptly because we are already practically half the way there in terms of time frame, so that we can implement the next increase by, say, in 2 years' time, say by 2026. I believe this is the pace that we need in order to reach those agreed goals by the year 2030, given the uncertainties that are inherent in the economic environment worldwide. Next, I will speak on the subject of equity in opportunity and access to training, so as to minimize the risk of premature displacement of our older workers. So when older workers express their hope to be able to continue working, they also share their anxieties about this forced obsolescence, this being rendered out of date and then really rust away. NTUC found that more than 9 in 10 older workers, besides wanting to continue working, they want to be continually trained. These workers knew that training was critical to their remaining relevant in their jobs, and they particularly worry about access to training opportunities. I thank the Finance Minister for announcing the Skills Future Level Up program for all Singaporeans aged 40 and above, aimed particularly at programs and courses that would enhance employability. This shows that the government is alive to the important nexus between the older workers' training and their employment and employability. Relevance is as salient as legislation in terms of bringing about an increase in effective working years. The question is how to make that happen. Of course, funding is important. That is why budget is important. Yet, together with funding and for real outcomes, effective implementation is also key. Therefore, we must scale up mechanisms that can ensure actual implementation according to the intent in the workplace. This is why I fully support fellow Labour MP Desmond Tan's call for employers to quickly work with the NTUC and our unions to form company training committees or CTCs. Through active CTCs, businesses can transform faster and workers of all ages can be helped to be trained in relevant skills and to be able to grow with the companies. And here, I again thank government for the $100 million funding to NTUC to scale up CTCs in order to achieve real outcomes for all stakeholders. And I also want to thank DPM Heng Swee Keat for recognizing the value of the CTCs in his speech earlier today. From NTUC, we pledge to work ever more closely with government in order to roll this out, not only in numbers, but in effectiveness, in order that we might be able to help as many workers as possible, as soon as possible. I ask all employers to form CTCs soonest and to work with NTUC and our unions to ensure that workers of all ages are given fair opportunity to be well trained. These workers will then help energize your company's growth. The third area that needs tackling is that of age bias. Older workers worry about age bias in several areas, namely access to training, as I mentioned, the availability of flexi work arrangements so that they can continue working while seeing to care needs and fair consideration as job seekers after being displaced. Empirical research suggests that these fears about age bias have basis, and it requires tackling. For this reason, I look forward to the workplace fairness legislation and the tripartite guidelines on flexible work requests that the government will be introducing. The workplace fairness legislation will build on existing tripartite mechanisms such as TAFEP, TADEM, and relevant joint guidelines to give even greater confidence of fair play to workers. This will be a strong national signal against various forms of workplace discrimination, including age bias. NTUC and our unions will work closely with employers to advance the interests of workers and companies. Beyond workplaces, there is also a growing need to expand and scale up viable, accessible care services to cater to a rapidly aging population. In the context of my focus today, I argue that this is important not only for the health and well-being of our seniors, but also for the employability of their middle-aged working family caregivers. More of these family caregivers may then not need to quit work in order to undertake their care duties, or at least to delay such an eventuality. Every year of continued working will significantly help with the retirement adequacy of the caregiver. I urge government to work closely and intensively with trusted partners to further develop this ecosystem so that Singapore and Singaporeans can truly enjoy the full benefits of better health, better care, better earnings, and stronger retirement adequacy. Mr. Speaker, there is a saying that no one cares how much you know till they know how much you care. NTUC stands with our older workers as they confront job insecurity and the risk of skills obsolescence. We care not just by asking more or just by asking someone else to solve the problem or waiting for an invitation. We put our ideas forward, we push for social change, make a real difference to the outcomes. Why? Because our workers are waiting for us to do this, and we will get it going and get it done. NTUC's approach is forward-looking, inclusive, action-oriented, practical, just like the PAP governments. I believe that this is the right and the best way to secure sustainable good outcomes for workers and for Singaporeans. Working closely with the government and tripartite partners, we will together build a better, more caring Singapore for workers of all ages. Mr. Speaker, I support the budget. Thank you.